All right, Shalom. Bear with me. Here we go. Here we go. All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right, back at you with another news and prophecy coming faster than everyone thought before. All right, coming faster than everyone thought before. All right, I had to steal that title here from this Fox News clip. All right, and when we look at these heavy headlines here, we're going to see why exactly that matches the title. You know, so I want to get into this thing, man, because a lot of things are happening quick. All right, the end time prophecies are unfolding quick, and again, our salvation is nearer than we believe. All right, so let's get into it. All right, this is from Fox Business. This came out today, 20 hours ago. All right, coming faster than everyone thought before. CEO stuns on quantum speed. All right, let's listen to a little bit of this right here. Here we go.
Joining me now, IonQ CEO Niccolo de Masi. Niccolo, how closely have you been watching all of the developments in the Middle East and the fact that some of these missiles and drones have managed to hit their targets?
Well, we consider ourselves a close partner of this administration. The Department of War, of course, is front and center in the last week, and indeed in really driving the quantum programs, not only up in space and up in the air, but of course on the ground and even under the ocean. We are the only quantum company in history to reach our size, and we operate in all war-fighting domains.
Yeah, real quick. Knowledge shall increase, right? You know? This is the book of Daniel 12:4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. All right? The end is approaching faster than what people realize, you know? But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. All right? This quantum technology, man. All right? This quantum leap. All right? This advancement of this technology, which is tied to the end of Esau's world. All right?
The ground and even under the ocean. We are the only quantum company in history to reach our size, and we operate in all war-fighting domains, from submarines up into the heavens. We've obviously been closely watching the last few weeks, and we consider ourselves in pole position here to not only help expand our defensive posture, but also our offensive posture.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what Iran was able to do. I mean, and it's rare considering how the U.S. has really, along with Israel, been hammering so many targets successfully in Iran. Iran destroyed this very expensive anti-missile radar system that was in Jordan. For quantum-enabled missile defense, what are you able to do? What is your goal here, and how would it work involving IonQ technology?
Well, a lot of our work is obviously classified. We have announced a partnership with a drone manufacturer named Heaven. I think it's safe to say that the future of the battlefield runs right through quantum.
Hey, peep the name. All right, the drone manufacturer named Heaven. All right, check that out.
Computing, but it's also our quantum sensing capabilities that are important for the warfighting domains that matter on the modern battlefield. We're working on both short, medium, and long-term initiatives. Most of our quantum sensing activities are in areas that help things like submarines through the spacecraft know where they are. But also, we're thinking ahead to obviously a world where quantum computers are more prevalent and where quantum security is vital. And so protecting our communications posture, not just for civilians, but of course for the modern battlefield, is front and center. Our post-quantum cryptography, our quantum key distribution, and of course, calculating logistics and looking at all the permutations and combinations that you can forecast are front and center for what quantum computers promise to bring, with IonQ very much leading the pack.
At what speed? That's what I want our viewers to understand about what you believe your technology can do. You mentioned permutations. There are a million possibilities when a drone is shot up and at a target. We just don't know exactly what it will hit. What could a quantum computer built into a radar system do, and how quickly?
Well, we believe we're going to make advances possible in this administration that will ultimately change the world and certainly change the battlefield. Quantum computing through IonQ is coming faster than everyone thought before, and that's because we're the best capitalized company in history, and we're very focused on bringing manufacturing for the whole quantum ecosystem firmly and centrally to IonQ and to the US. So we make our machines entirely with the US supply chain. We announced an acquisition of a business called SkyWater just about 6 weeks ago. SkyWater is actually supporting the whole US quantum industry. And so we're proud of the fact that we are the leading merchant supplier to the entire quantum industry. It's our atomic clocks, our quantum chips, quantum networking equipment. All of this is being supplied, not just the DOW, but of course to all of our partners. And so we're really here to focus on accelerating US quantum leadership.
Yeah, hey, we just read Daniel 12:4. Hey, knowledge shall increase, man. All right, shut up the book, seal the book even to the time of the end. All right, because hey, this man is basically boasting in his blessing. All right, Esau was blessed with that sword, man. Right, let me pull that up. Psalm 17. Right. This is Psalm 17 and 13. Arise, O Lord, Yehovah Shem Yahushua, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. All right, that sword is part of his blessing. This quantum technology, the weaponry, which was spiritual. He said that drone company was called heaven, right? And the prophecy said that he would cause fire to rain down from heaven in the sight of men. Revelation 13. Okay. Revelation 13, starting at verse 12. And he exercised of all the power of the first beast before him, the ancient Roman Empire, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. All right. And right now we live in the revival of Rome 2.0. All right. And that power is being exercised through America, NATO, and the EU. Okay. Verse 13, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. All right. So, I find it, spiritual that the company was named Heaven. and he has his technology in the heavens. All right. The satellites, the satellites with the lasers on them. Okay. His ability to drop, bombs, warheads. All right. That's part of his power. He doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, right? And the miracles that are being discussed in this video, going into this quantum leap, this quantum technology, man. Okay? This is the man of war, the man of violence. He deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Right. And there's another point I want to make. All right, because this power that he has, as we talked about yesterday at camp. Okay, this is the Lord raising up this modern day Pharaoh. Let me get that too. Just thinking out loud. All right, Romans 9 and 17. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. So the Most High raised up Pharaoh just like he did in ancient Egypt. All right, we're now in spiritual Egypt, and the Lord has raised up the modern day Pharaoh Esau with this power. All right, but when the Lord comes and takes this man down, it's going to be shown, it's going to be known who's the true power. Let me add something real quick. quick precept. And Sirach 16, I want to say. Hold on. Pull that up real fast. Is it 16 and 15? Bear with me 1 second. Yep. This is Sirach or Ecclesiastes 16, verse 15. The Lord hardened Pharaoh that he should not know him. And it's the same thing now, dealing with these elites, these technocrats, all right, how they boast in the power that they have, how they surpass the power of the Most High. You know, it says that he should not know him, that his powerful works might be known to the world, right? So when this man goes down, it's going to be known that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua took him down. All right, this is all for the purpose of the Lord's movie, you know. So let's go back. Just thinking about that. Okay.
This is a race against our adversaries. It's not just a race against smaller adversaries like Iran that honestly don't have a quantum posture, but there's bigger ones like China that obviously recognize that after AI, quantum is the next big technological wave. And so the U.S. succeeding in that is all about, we believe, IonQ supporting the industry, IonQ capitalizing quantum foundries, the merchant supplier business, and of course, making sure that we lead in computing, networking, sensing, and quantum cybersecurity. This is the battlefield of the future right here.
I'm glad you brought up cybersecurity. In fact, since the strikes on Iran began, this has been a huge issue. Cybersecurity firms have tracked something like 60 hacktivist groups launching attacks on the U.S., allied targets. Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan issued a warning about this. He, in essence, said that banks could be targeted. Are you helping any banks to intercept these kinds of cybersecurity attacks?
Yeah, we are absolutely partners with some of the largest banks and telcos in the world. They use our quantum key distribution security, which is physical security on fiber optic cables. They also use our post-quantum cryptography, which is a software solution. We believe that every significant corporation, every government branch needs IonQ cybersecurity, and it needs it now, because this not only protects you in a world where quantum computers are standard, but it also protects you today. And ultimately, quantum security is really quite affordable relative to the existential threat that's out there, not just from the gray market.
Wow, he just froze right when oh, go ahead. Well, all right, your camera froze for a second, but I wanted to jump in and ask you, is your technology that fights cybersecurity hacks, is it faster than Palo Alto Networks, than Zscalers, than CrowdStrike?
I don't know if speed is relevant in the security space in the sense that we're looking to ultimately prevent information from being communicated when we know somebody's trying to listen on the line. And we're looking to make sure that the bad guys, if and when they get quantum computers down the line, are not able to take advantage of snooping on your line or hacking into your data center when you're unaware of it. And so, we're looking to provide the ultimate security. I think some of the firms you mentioned may be partners of ours long-term. We're open to how we go to market. Right now, we sell directly and we sell through partners. And so we very much want to be the standard, if you will, for all quantum technologies, from sensing to security to networking and computers in all warfighting domains. That's our goal.
And fast is crucial. I know that, but so is the quality of what you're discovering and shutting down. Nicolo, thank you for joining us. We'll continue to watch the headlines about any kind of opportunity you get with.
Yeah. So, we're in the midst of a cyber war. All right. And I want to just kind of continue that point right here, because, hey, like he said, coming faster than everyone thought before. All right. The destruction, the crash, the big event that we've been talking about is close, man. All right. Here we go. This is from News Nation. All right.
The Iran-linked group Handala is claiming it is in retaliation for the bombing of an Iranian girls' school. The attack targeting a major American medical equipment and technology company based in an American company with all signs pointing to Iranian ties. The Iran-linked group Handala is claiming it is in retaliation for the bombing of an Iranian girls' school. The attack targeting a major American medical equipment and technology company based in Michigan. Investigative correspondent Rich McHugh joins us live. All right, Rich, what all do we know at this point?
Hi, Nicole. Well, this certainly ups the ante. It shows that this is not just a war being fought over there in Iran. It shows that American companies are now at threat of these cyber attacks, as just happened with Stryker, and that more attacks could be on the way. So Stryker, which is the Michigan-based medical supplies company, experienced an attack. They saw a message when they opened their browser that had the logo of Handala, a pro-Palestinian hacking group. That was employees of the company were saying. In a statement, Stryker said it is experiencing a global network disruption to our Microsoft environment as a result of a cyber attack. We have no indication of ransomware or malware and believe the incident is contained. They said they were working rapidly to understand the impact of the attack on their systems. Now, the group Handala posted online, quote, "We announced to the world that in retaliation for the brutal attack on the Menab school and in response to ongoing cyber assaults against the infrastructure of the Axis of Resistance, our major cyber operation has been executed with complete success." Now, Michael Vatis, he is the founding head of the FBI cyber program, had this to say.
And if that's true, then what strikes me is that this is an instance, looking at the big picture of Iran trying to use whatever tools or weapons it has in its arsenal to counterattack against Israel and the United States. So, it's not entirely clear whether this Handala group that claimed credit is a Iran supporting hacktivist group, as they style themselves, or whether they're actually more tightly connected to the Iranian government.
Now, I also spoke with Michael McAndrews. He's a former member of the FBI cyber action team that was for high-profile intrusions around the globe. Take a listen.
The justification that it was in retaliation for the attack on an Iranian school, I doubt that. In my experience, these groups are very opportunistic. I find it more likely that a group called Initial Access Brokers had probably already obtained access to this organization, and then they likely sold it to this group. It's very unlikely that this group went out and targeted the company and then found their way to that level of access and then instigated an attack.
Now, both of these men say it's unclear, Handala, whether they are how close to the Iranian government they are, or whether they are pro-Palestinian and just aligned in spirit with the government. Nicole.
And what is the Trump administration saying, Rich?
Well, they're saying they're proactively monitoring this. Our infrastructure, our security infrastructure is world-class. The DHS put out a statement this morning, and I want to read that in part. They say the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency is working shoulder to shoulder with our public and private sector partners as we continue to uncover relevant information and provide technical assistance for the targeted attack on Stryker, while steadfastly standing at the ready to defend our nation's critical infrastructure. Now, I asked Michael Vatis about that, and he said, well, we have dismantled some of that team, some of that cyber team. So we are more vulnerable right now. And so I wouldn't take that at face value.
All right. Rich McHugh with.
Exactly. Talking about it's vulnerable, man. And they've been saying that for years. All right. So remember, if they take if they crash the system, or if they take the internet, all right, there goes the system. You see? And we're all locked into the prophecy of the chip. So this thing has to happen, right? And I want to make a point here too. All right, bear with me 1 second. Let this computer catch up. Okay. Right, but this is from the Wall Street Journal. This came out yesterday. It says Russia shuts off internet in Moscow as it tests nationwide censorship system. See, we're telling y'all, man. If they cut this net, there goes your economy, right? This is Proverbs 1:28. The Lord said you're gonna try to seek them early. This is what we're warning you about, man. Get with the program. Proverbs 1:28. It says they should call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they should not find me. All right. It's about to be a wrap. Okay. YouTube, the internet, social media, the famine of the word is coming. Okay. See, they're not talking about these cyber attacks and, censorship and playing with the internet for no reason. Okay. They get ready to shut this shit down. All right. The Lord said they shall seek me early, but they should not find me. Right. Proverbs 8:17. I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. Man, this is the time that you're supposed to be seeking out the Lord, man. Repenting, getting right. Okay? Before all hell breaks loose, right? Hosea 5:15, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early, man. So when it all shuts down, then that's when Jake gonna try to seek out the Lord, but it's gonna be too late, man. Okay, pay attention to these headlines here, man. That's why I said these headlines are heavy. This is right off the press. Okay, again in the Wall Street Journal, Russia shuts off internet in Moscow as it tests nationwide censorship system. It says mobile internet access has been disabled in Moscow in recent days after similar outages in dozens of regions. Right, the famine is coming. Okay. It says Russia is stepping up its test of systems designed to keep millions of people from accessing information online in times of political unrest, shutting off mobile internet access in the capital in recent days. So how much more in America when they do this? Right? Designed to keep millions of people from accessing information online in times of political unrest. All right? Are we not here? Right here in America? Okay? So when this shit gets off the chain, what you think they're gonna do? Okay? Because the news, how news spreads online is hard for them to control, man. All right, so they're just gonna flip the switch. Okay, shutting off mobile internet access in the capital in recent days. It says people in Moscow, a city of 13 million, have found themselves unable to pay online bills or message co-workers in recent days. All right, read between the lines, Jake. Okay, they cut the internet, no more economy. All right, they found themselves unable to pay online bills or message co-workers in recent days. Computers stepping out of the city subway stations can't order a cab to the office. Unable to access online maps, many are asking strangers for directions for the first time in years. All right, and that shows you how comfortable we've gotten with this damn internet, bro. All right, these cell phones, you can't remember nobody's phone number. You got to use fucking Google Maps, right? Imagine when you can no longer rely on technology, how the people are going to bug out. Okay. Unable to access online maps, many are asking strangers for directions the first time in years. Those who normally work from home are filling cafes as they seek a stable Wi-Fi connection. All right, ain't gonna be no more Wi-Fi, no more internet connection. A little bit more says in recent months, dozens of Russian regions have gone offline suddenly. Ooh, matter of fact, I gotta get that. Man, gone offline suddenly. You already know where I'm going. Sirach 5 and 7. All right. Sirach 5 and 7, and it reads, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth. And in thy security thou should be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. Man, hey, when they cut this shit suddenly, it's over, man. Talking about panic. Oh boy. Right? Let me go back. In recent months, dozens of Russian regions have gone offline suddenly. The Kremlin has defended the shutoffs as necessary to protect Russians from attacks by Ukrainian drones which can use local cell phone towers for navigation. All right. And that's all I can get out that article. But that's pretty heavy, man. Right? This is Amos. Excuse me. Amos 8:11. And it reads, behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. So you get it. That quick it can happen. All right? Famine of the word, just like that. No more internet, no more access to YouTube and social media platforms. Okay? And they shall wander from sea to sea, from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord and shall not find it. Okay? This is it right here. All right? What we just read in this brief article is the same things that are getting ready to happen in America sooner than later. All right? Again, coming faster than everyone thought before. Right? It says, finishing it out, Isaiah 8:13, in that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst. All right? Because there's not going to be any more access to the living water. All right? This word, this truth, this gospel, man. Okay? There's a timestamp on this truth. This is why you should not make no tarrying to serve, to find out the Lord, man, before it's too late. Okay? Here's some more points dealing with the internet. All right? Another post here from New York Times. And we've been calling this out for the longest here. It says, cascade of AI fakes about war with Iran causes chaos online. So we told you from Jump Street, man, when they introduced this deep fake technology, these AI videos, all right, we already told you that they were going to use that to deceive, man. And this AI is another reason for them to take the internet. Too many fake videos going out, too many fake posts. All right, because it's hard for people to tell what's real and what's fake because the AI is getting better and better. All right, so now they're saying that it's causing chaos online, right? Let's read a little bit here. It says a torrent of fake videos and images generated by artificial intelligence have overrun social networks during the first weeks of the war in Iran. Okay? And these are all AI videos that you see here, right? And they look pretty good. Okay? It says the video showing huge explosions that never happened, decimated city streets that were never attacked, or troops protesting the war who do not exist, have added a chaotic and confusing layer to the conflict online. All right, yeah, that's that confusion, man. All right, a lot of deception. And the Lord said, "Be not deceived." You know, the New York Times identified over 110 unique AI-generated images and videos from the past 2 weeks about the war in the Middle East. The fakes covered every aspect of the fighting. They falsely depicted screaming Israelis cowering as explosions ripped through Tel Aviv, Iranians mourning their dead, and American military vessels bombarded with missiles and torpedoes, right? So you don't know what the hell is real, man, or what's fake. All right, because we damn sure have seen all these videos too, right? This is why you got to be circumspect, man, because the days are evil. A lot of deception is going out. Okay? It says collectively they were seen millions of times online through networks like X, TikTok, and Facebook, and countless more times within private messaging apps popular in the region and around the world. The Times identified the AI content by checking for both obvious signs, such as depictions of buildings that do not exist, garbled texts and behaviors or movements that defy expectations, and for invisible watermarks embedded within the files. The posts were also checked with multiple AI detector tools and compared with reports from news organizations, right? little bit more. It says a sophisticated new wave of AI tools makes the fakes possible, enabling nearly anyone to create lifelike simulations of war that can deceive the naked eye for little to no cost. Similar content has spread in other conflicts, including the war between Ukraine and Russia. But this war has multiple fronts that has led to the proliferation of fake content since the United States and Israel first attacked Iran, according to experts, man. So you got to be extremely careful of what you watching, what you repost, all right? Because they're going to use this to say, oh, you're posting fake news and, the persecute, it's a bunch of bullshit, all right, as we've been warning you about that's behind this stuff, man. Let me grab something real fast since I quoted it. So keep your head on the damn swivel, man. All right. Matthew 24. Okay. Matthew 24 and verse 4. Okay. Matter of fact, we'll just start at 3. Excuse me. Matthew 24 and 3. And it reads, it says, as he sat upon the Mount of Olives. Right? Why is it? Hold on 1 second. It said it lost my audio. Hold on. Let me pull it back up. 1 second. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay, we should be good. All right, here we go. Matthew 24 and 3, and it reads, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, what shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming in the end of the world, all right, the end of this age, right? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. So again, as we're reading about the this AI and the deep fakes and the fake content that's exploded online since the war with Iran started, you got to be careful, man. You got to pay attention to what's going on here, right? It says, verse 6, Matthew 24 and 5, it says, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, right? So again, this is where we at, man. The beginning of sorrows, the famine of the word, all right? Great deception going out, okay? Persecution, all right? Let me add a point on that, all right? There's another point or another headline here from my guy, Tucker Carlson. Let me pull this up. 1 second. I'm gonna play the video real fast. All right. So this is from mediate.com. Headline here. It says Tucker Carlson claims DOJ will charge him for violating foreign agent law. It says CIA read my text on Iran war. All right, let's just play the video, get to the point. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Why is it not put? All right, 1 second. Hold on. All right. Okay, we should be good now.
So the other day I found out that the CIA is preparing some kind of criminal referral against me, a crime report to the Department of Justice on the basis of a supposed crime I committed. What's that crime? Well, talking to people in Iran before the war. They read my texts. So the crime under consideration apparently would be the Foreign Agent Act or something like that, acting as an agent of a foreign power. And I don't expect this to go anywhere. I'm not too worried about an actual criminal case against me for a bunch of reasons. One, I'm not an agent of a foreign power. Unlike a lot of people commenting on U.S. politics and global affairs, I have only one loyalty, and that's the United States, and have never acted against it. Its interests are the only interests I care about because I'm from here. And I have a lot of kids. Taking money from anybody, don't need a job to talk to everybody all the time and try and figure out what's happening around the world. That's literally what I do for a living. And I'm not going to stop doing that, nor should I don't think. I'm also an American. I can talk to anybody. I have no secrets to divulge. So legally, I think the case is ludicrous, and I doubt it will even become a case. I'm bringing this up for a couple of reasons, though, and they're pretty obvious. One is that just the nature and so there's much less tolerance for any kind of dissent in the homeland. The irony, of course, is the United States fights wars on behalf of freedom, but there's always less of it here in our country during war. So that's a widely recognized phenomenon, and it's likely to happen now, too. Another point to make that is worth knowing is that the USIC, the intelligence agency, spy on Americans. Now, you probably knew that, and it's been revealed a lot, including by Julian Assange and Ed Snowden, both of whom are threatened with death for revealing it, but everyone knows. But it's probably a little more widespread than most people understand, and it's outrageous.
Yeah, hey, this devil getting ready to come down with the wrath. We've been warning you about that. All right? They watching everything. We've been talking about this stuff. All right? Psalm 37. We'll go back. Psalm 37. Okay? This is Psalm 37 and verse, let me start up a little bit. Psalm 37 and 12. It says, the wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. His teeth are tied back to the power, man, to his power. All right? They're plotting, they're watching, they're building cases against people that speak out against the system, the government, Trump, the tiny tops, everything, man. All right? It says, the Lord shall laugh at him. Verse 13, the Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. All right? The wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy and to slay such as be of the upright conversation. All right? Going back to the men of the Lord, the prophets, those that are speaking the truth. All right? They want to get rid of those people. All right? Those that speak against the status quo, the shit that's been happening. All right? And like he was talking about, we're in a time of war, so that type of level of authoritarianism, if I'm pronouncing it right, is of a higher level. Okay? So they believe what he's saying. They're watching every goddamn thing, every post, every video, every response. You know, nothing's going undocumented. All right? Jumping down, same chapter. Psalms 37 and 32. The wicked watches the righteous and seeketh to slay him. And that's what it's about. All right? Persecution time, man. Okay? John 15 and 18. And it reads, the world hate you. You know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love his own. but because you're not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hated you. All right. And we understand what's getting ready to happen. Okay. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. All right. So it's going to happen. Okay. And this guy, Tucker Carlson, he's been speaking out a lot against the small hats. He knows who the true Israelites are. He's came across the apostles and the elders and bishops. Okay. He knows he's been subliminally putting that out there, man. Okay. So you better believe they got eyes on him. Right.
There's no justification for your government, which you own, you're a shareholder in it, you pay for it, to be violating your privacy like this. But it happens all the time. And in fact, one of the reasons that CIA or people within CIA, just to be clear, it's a huge, sprawling, disconnected agency. What it does in a specific case doesn't represent what everybody in the building thinks, but there are some people who are mad at me for my views about Israel. And they have some latitude. And one of the reasons they pass on.
That's really what it's about. You know?
Criminal complaints, in effect, to law enforcement is to justify warrants for spying on Americans. So that is an absolutely real thing. It is to leak the existence of the investigation, such as it is, humiliate and terrify many times, including in famously 2021 when I was still at Fox News and trying to set up an interview with Vladimir Putin and the NSA, just with an American citizen, and had leaked them to news outlets. Those texts were basically my attempts to set up an interview with the foreign head of state, and they leaked them to the New York Times in order to stop the interview, which they successfully did, by the way. And they admitted that they were spying on me. This is not a fantasy. It actually happened. They did it again 2 years later. My second attempt to get a Putin interview, I managed to get it anyway, and they've done it since. And so when you get a call from a reporter who knows the contents of your texts, it's pretty clear something's going on. None of this, in my judgment, as of right now, is a huge threat to me. So I'm not making this video to complain about it or whine or ask you to send me money because I'm under attack. I'm saying it because it's true. And you should know what your own good.
But yeah, that's a heavy point too. You got to know what the stakes are. You got to know what you're involved in. Understand what's getting ready to come down the pipe. All right. This is why I wanted to play this clip.
What happens in this country that affects outcomes happens behind the scenes. Some of it is legal, some of it is not, including what I'm describing now. But it has an effect. And the intel agencies, again, not everyone in the intel agencies, because there are decent, hardworking Americans who work in the intel agencies are Americans, just like there are decent, hardworking Americans who work at the DMV. But there are also people with agendas and grudges and no sense of restraint who are happy to misuse the power they have granted them by our elaborate secrecy laws to hurt fellow Americans for ideological reasons. That is entirely real. That's the story of Russiagate. And it's likely that things like that will begin to happen at greater scale now. So you should just know that going forward. Thanks.
Hey, it's a spirit, you know? Again, take heed to what's being said. All right, this is the spirit, man. All right, Revelation 12. Understand what's about to happen because of what you believe in. What your so-called ideology is, right? Okay. Revelation 12 and verse 12, straight to the point. Matter of fact, we'll start up. Revelation 12 and 10, and it reads, it says, And I heard a loud voice, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our power and of his anointed, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. And Esau is the accuser of the brethren. All right. And what we're talking about here is how he's categorized and has everything documented, all right, stowed away, which he's going to use against you. All right, to blame you, to frame you. All right. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and loved not their lives unto death. All right. So, hey, understand what you're involved in, man. Okay. And remember, we're a sacrifice, man. Okay. The persecution is going to happen. Right. Verse 12. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. Everything that this guy Tucker Carlson was talking about is very real. It's going to happen. They know. They're watching everything. Everything's being documented. All right. Categorized, all of that. They know they have a short time. Okay. They're getting ready to make the move. All right. Before we wrap this up. All right. Just add another point. We're not going to read this article, but here from El Pius, it says AI ends online anonymity, the ease of unmasking pseudonymous accounts. So you can't be anonymous online no more. They got the technology to know, where you at, who you are, your identity, all of that, right? Study shows how combining a handful of data extracted from the trail of unknown users leave on the internet can lead to their identification. All right. So they're cracking down on everything as part of that wrath we just read, Revelation 12 and 12. Okay. And you can read that on your own. That's pretty much the point. No matter of fact, before we wrap this up, let me read this. Hold on. Let me read these two paragraphs and then we'll wrap it up. Right. So it says that anonymity of accounts on social media will be more difficult to maintain in the age of artificial intelligence. A group of researchers gathered thousands of posts from anonymous forums, such as Hacker News and Reddit, asking several AIs to identify their authors. To no one's surprise, language models like Gemini and ChatGPT did minutes what would take a human several hours. It could even manage to crack it all. The models identified 68% of anonymous users with 90% precision, compared to the near 0% for the best non-LLM method, according to the scientific article. Our results show the practical obscurity protecting pseudonymous users online no longer holds, and that the threat models for online privacy need to be reconsidered. All right, last point here. It says, this may seem like merely one more task the AI does more quickly, but it has implications. The internet, as we know, works. Quote, people sometimes express their opinions through pseudonymous accounts, assuming that those opinions will remain private, says Daniel Pelka, a researcher from the ETH Zurich, of one of the study's co-authors. Quote, the existence of a mechanism to investigate or monitor with large language models that allows us to simply ask about a person's beliefs, political opinions, insecurities, or anything else that can be extracted from their anonymous Reddit account, for example, could disempower many people today. He adds, hey, the accuser of the brethren. Okay, he watching everything, man. They know all about your personal beliefs and political opinions, how you view the system, how you view the government. Okay, that all ties into the social credit scores. Okay, you're going to be judged based off your social status, your online behavior. Okay, hey, this is real. Okay, so hey, welcome to the new world. I'll say that. All right, you know what I mean by that. Okay, but yeah, that's pretty much the point, man. Again, shit is moving. Okay, shit is moving faster than everyone thought before. So we'll leave it like that, man. I pray that this lesson was edifying. And shalom to the next one. Shalom.